Have you ever had that moment where you're surrounded by samples, open tabs on your laptop, a half finished tech pack, and you're thinking, how did something I was so excited about turn into chaos and anxiety? Maybe you've already spent thousands on designs, manufacturers, maybe even a photo shoot. But deep down, you have this fear of going to market because you don't know if anyone would actually want what you have created. Or worse, you did launch, but the sales just didn't come. And there was lack of planning or something that was missing. If that's you, you're exactly where you need to be today. I'm founder of the Build the Dream brand. And over 20 years, I've been helping founders, artists, fashion startups design, launch, and scale brands from museums like V&A, Chatsworth House, department stores, to first time founders who started with nothing but an idea and a sketch. This is a podcast for anyone who wants to build a fashion brand without wasting years and thousands of pounds on mistakes that could have been avoided. Whether you are at the very beginning, sitting with an idea on a notepad, or you're already trading and trying to figure out what comes next. This is your space. I've already stepped on all the landmines in building the brand landscape you are about to step on. I'm here so you don't have to. In this episode of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly of Building the Dream Brand, I want to walk you through the 5 traps that quietly kill fashion brands before they ever reach their potential. So let's dive in. Trap number 1 is skipping market research. So many creatives secretly hate market research. Most founders fall in love with their idea, the print, the story, their color palette, but they never really check in a grounded way if there's a demand for what they're making. And I get it. You didn't start this to spend your evening staring at spreadsheets. You started this because you wanted to create something meaningful, something different, something beautiful, right? But here is the brutal truth. If you don't know what you're designing and who you're designing for, and you're just guessing, that guessing is expensive. It gets expensive. Instead of thinking, is my idea good? Start asking, who is this for? What problem does it solve? What is it replacing in your customer's wardrobe or their life? How is it making their life better? Okay, here's a simple way to start. Make a list of 3 to 5 competitor brands who are doing something very similar to what you want to do. Look at their product features, their price points, bestsellers, the things that you like about the product, things that you don't like, and their messaging, how they're talking to their customer. Then ask yourself, where do I sit in this landscape and what's my USP and what I would do differently to create my product. You don't need a 100-page report, you need clarity. Before you spend thousands on sampling and stock, do the unsexy work. Draw out your product and list down the features. It could be on Canva, it could be on a piece of paper. Then find the local seamstress who can educate you what you need to do to create that product and the features you've listed. Or maybe it could be a small sampling unit. Create the product that is better than your competitors. Talk to your potential customers for fit, look, and function. Record your journey. Test a tiny drop. Set up a sign-up list and pre-orders, and share your story and get feedback based on comments and sales. Market research is not there to kill your dream. It's there to save you from pouring your dream into the wrong container. Trap number 2, weak brand identity. The second trap is where I see so many founders confuse pretty with powerful. A nice logo, a pastel Instagram grid, some mood, that's not a brand. A real brand is a promise you make to your customer and then keep. If you start looking at your brand from your customers' lenses, how they experience, value, and understand your brand, you will have a great brand. A brand identity is definitely not a pretty logo. It's also your verbal identity, what you stand for, your tone of voice, tagline, key messaging pillars, what they value, what frustrates them, and what goals drive their decisions. So focus on defining your brand purpose, values, mission, and personality. For example, Designer Friday, a sustainable brand, the story is rooted in sustainability. It's an eco friendly brand that uses eco friendly packaging, natural materials, and the commitment to protecting the future. So the tagline, Fashion with Purpose, reinforces the brand values and appeal to environmentally conscious customer. If you can't answer in one or two sentences, does my brand evoke emotions? Does it reflect my purpose? Does it make my customer care and feel? Then your branding isn't ready yet. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not talented. It just means you haven't translated your idea into something the customer can instantly recognize as for them. Instead of obsessing over the perfect typeface, start with what change do I want my customer to experience when they wear my product? What three words describe the emotion of my brand? What do I want to be known for consistently? Once you know that your design, your copy, your website, your photography, all of it becomes 100 times easier because it's consistent through and through, and the promise that you make to your customer. Because every decision filters through that core identity. Trap number 3 is poor product development. Let's talk about the messy middle. This is where so many brands lose money, confidence, and time. And I see time and time again. And maybe this sounds familiar to your story. You found a manufacturer, you send them your idea, samples arrive, and you think, this isn't what I had in my head at all. Your manufacturer's MOQs, their lead times, what fabrics you should be using, and whether their sustainability claims are even real. Poor product development often comes from rushing to get something made so you feel like you are moving forward. But great product development is about clarity and communication. Ask your manufacturers better questions. What certifications do you have? What fabrics do you specialize in? What printing methods and dyes do you use? How do you handle waste and offcuts? Can you give examples of similar products? What other brands have you worked with previously? And really look at their previous feedback or reviews. Watch how they communicate with you. If they are slow, vague, or dismissive at the sampling stage, that will only get worse in the production. And on your side, get your foundations tight. Check their existing products for quality and finish. Have clear tech backs. Detailed print files in the right formats also helps. Measurements that make sense. References of what good looks like to you. That goes back to when you have looked at your competitors and looked at what their product looked like and how do you want to make it better. So references or even having a sample of that would be helpful. The goal is to create a product you are proud of, that your customer wants to buy again and again. Trap number 4, having no marketing strategy. So many founders only realize after they have spent thousands on stock. They think once I have the product, then I will figure out how to sell it. But by then, you're tired, you're emotionally invested, and your cash is tied up. A great product is not enough. You need a plan for how this product will meet your customer. When I say marketing strategy, I don't mean posting randomly on Instagram and hoping someone will notice. I mean, where does your customer actually is spending time? What content will build trust with them before you ask for the sale? How will you warm your audience before launch? What does your 30-day post-launch look like? Think about your launch like an event. Warm up your audience, share behind the scenes, talk about the problem you're solving, bring them into process, and build a small wait list or an email list. A simple imperfect marketing plan executed consistently will beat a beautiful brand that never talks to its customers. Let's move on to trap number 5, which is probably most of you trying to do it all alone. This is our final trap that I'm going to say almost every founder falls into at some point. We live in a culture that romanticizes the girl boss or the boss who does everything himself or herself. But running a fashion brand is a design, product development, manufacturing, quality control, photography, website launch all again, but better. If you're currently up at 2 a.m. Googling how to find a manufacturer, watching random YouTube videos, piecing together advice from 20 different people, you're not failing. You're just trying to build a very complex system with no blueprint. The founders who grow faster are not necessarily more talented or more creative. They just ask for help sooner. They ask, who has done this before? Who can help me avoid the mistakes I can't see coming? So mentorship, consulting, coaching, they're not sign of weakness. They are shortcuts through the maze. Go and find somebody who can help you through this maze easily and smoothly. So as we wrap up, I want you to notice which of these 5 traps did you recognize yourself in? Was it skipping market research? Was it that you did not identify your brand properly? Was it the challenges of, if you're nodding along to maybe more than one of these, I want you to hear this. You're not behind. You're not a failure. You've been trying to build your dream brand without a system and without the right support. This is why I created Build a Dream Brand. It's like a gym for your business. You bring the vision and we bring the structure, the guidance, and the accountability. Inside my mentoring, I have one-to-one support. We work through clarifying your brand identity, designing products your customer actually wants, and finding and managing the right suppliers, as well as planning your launch so you're not sitting on a stock in your garage or even in your lounge wondering what went wrong. If you're listening to this and thinking, I don't want to waste another 6 months guessing, I love you to invite you to take one simple step. Book a call or download the free checklist linked in the show notes and start with a clear picture where the gaps are for you. There are hundreds of free resources online, but I have given hand-picked resources that will help you build your journey. You can build the brand you've been dreaming about with less chaos, less guesswork, and a lot more ease. Thank you for listening to this very first episode of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly of Building the Dream Brand. In the next episode, we are going to go deeper into one of these traps and start turning it into your superpower. Until then, keep dreaming, but more importantly, keep building.